What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Club and Country. This is episode number 88, and we're starting season off on the back of our big win against Southampton. Back-to-back wins to start our title defence off, with two bids here for Joe Rodden and Ethan and Paddo, of course, both rejected. There's no point in selling them for a little bit of money. As you simulate through to the first and only game of today's episode, third of this season, Manchester City at home. We have the draw for the Champions League group stage, where Newport County, in their first year in the competition, have got... Oh, you know, whenever I do like Champions League groups, I swear you always get like one big boy. It's pretty much impossible to get like a really straightforward group. But normally there's one really big boy, and then a couple of teams you probably fancy yourself against, if you're being honest, both home and away. But it's very rare I'll do a draw where I look at two of the teams in there and say, do you know what? Like, because every time I do a draw, you often hear me say it. Oh, well, you know, top in the group might be difficult, even though we often do. But I'll take runner-up. We should definitely be doing that. But this is one of those groups where I look at it and think, do you know what? Are we third favourites to get through that group? It's our first year in the Champions League. Bayern Munich, definitely the favourites, no doubt about that, but Roma and Rosenborg, the other sides. I do think we should be able to beat Rosenborg home and away, but Roma, that's going to be an interesting team to face there. Away in Italy, I must say, that'll be a massive game when it comes around. The first one is actually against Bayern Munich, so tough way to start off our life in the Champions League. But Bayern Munich, Roma and Rosenborg, I think we can get out of it. But whether we're second favourites or third favourites against Roma, I think that's the main question there. The board definitely thinking anything outside against the quarters or semis will be a failure. That's my objective this season. I'm going for the last 8 or possibly last 4 this season. But getting through the group, I don't think that's going to be routine whatsoever. Big loss on the opening night against Bayern Munich, and I'll be fearing the worst after just one game. Anyway, first game of today's episode, first and only one, final one of August for the transfer window would slam shut. Manchester City, Pep Guardiola, who in this save haven't done especially well. They haven't really been, well, as dominant as we've seen domestically in England in the Guardiola era, especially in the League Cup. But even so, taking on Manchester City on the back of back-to-back wins to start our title defence off against Wolves and Southampton. This is our first major test of the season. Took the lead through Rabbi Matondo, already his 4th of the year. What a ball by Humphreys, by the way. And whilst Man City levelled soon afterwards, this was a crazy, frenetic opening half an hour in South Wales. Humphreys got a goal to go along with assists to get us back in front soon after Man City found the level. And a few minutes after that, Phil Foden drills in Man City's second leveller of the game, and 23 minutes in, we'd already seen 4 goals and we were tied at 2-2. Man City pegging us back on 2 separate occasions. Just such a crazy beginning to the game. We often talk about it in this year's FIFA. Goal gluts are just so common, and I knew this was just going to be one of those games. Right for the break, Man City almost got it for the first time in the game, gone Calvers and I by a great save by Price to the near post. It was still 2-2, but I knew for sure that we've seen 4 goals in the opening 25 minutes. There were going to be more to come, and probably before the break, with the final kick of the half, Man City would get themselves in front for the first time. Phil Foden, that was brilliant there. Should have included a replay for this one, really. Great extra pass as I slid in anticipating the shot. Finds Timo Werner, and Man City get themselves in front for the first time in the game. So 3-2 for the first time we trailed all season long. And I was thinking, okay, how do we respond from this? Well, not very well is the answer. 2 minutes after the restart, and they doubled their lead for the first time in the game. Pedro Goncalves latching onto a through ball and slotting home to make it 4-2. And it's crazy, you know, we signed Ben Cabango in this summer transfer window, and I often talk about, you know, defense in this year's FIFA. It's almost impossible. It really is at times, especially when you're coming up against a high-powered offensive side like this Man City team has. We got back in the game directly after conceding that 4th goal. Rabbi Matondo once again. Gavin Humphreys ball over the top, and Rabbi bags his brace for the game and 5th of the season already. We're still down by a goal though, and need to get another one to get back on level terms and at least claim a point to keep our unbeaten start alive. Brennan Johnson off the bench denied there by Edison. Still we trail by a goal with just over a quarter of an hour to go. I was pushing, I was pressing, I was looking for that late winner. We had one final chance with 9 minutes to go. Johnson again off the bench, coming in this summer window, playing a 1-2 of Rabbi Matondo. A chance for his first goal of the season to give us the leveller. And goodness gracious me, couldn't even hit the target. Bearing down on goal one-on-one with Edison. And I will say, it's a poor miss with myself there, but I have to admit, I actually kind of like the fact that nowadays, you miss quite a few one-on-ones. I think EA have definitely tweaked it over the course of this year's FIFA as well, which is really good, because at the start you missed so many, it was ludicrous, but now you do miss, on occasion, a few, though scored a majority. But I thought I'd spurn the chance to find us a level late on until the final kick of the game resulted in our fourth goal and the equaliser and the hat-trick from Matondo, and the celebrations were class as well. I love these last-minute celebrations. When they're warranted and justified, they look fantastic. They certainly were in this game. Rabi's 6th of the season, 3rd of the day, hat-trick for Matondo. What a red-hot start for our 90-rated strikers. He claims the match ball and ensures we get a point as well. And that was definitely the game of the series, that one. We've had some great ones. You know, last year winning 4-0 at Old Trafford, 3-0 at Anfield. It's been some really class games since the series began, even in the lower leagues as well. But this was definitely the game of the series to me. 4-4 the final score. There was a last-minute goal in the first half for Man City, and then a last-minute goal in the entire game for us to claim a definitely, in my opinion, deserved point at the very, very least. Matondo bailing me out of the hat-trick there. But I love the cutback from Brennan Johnson as well. Missed a chance early, this time aware enough to pass it off to Matondo. Made the right decision there, didn't I? As Matondo squeezed in from close range. So yeah, 4-4 the final score. 8-goal through against Man City. Our winning start ended after the 3 games, but the unbeaten start does continue for now. And that's not a bad start. If you have Wolves, Southampton, who last year did really well, Man City, our opening 3 games. Tough first 3 fixtures in the Premier League to get ourselves 7 points for a possible 9. That's not too bad, to be fair. But following that, transfer deadline day did come around, and we still had around £20 million in our budget. And when I showed you my transfer shortlist, you can see it's such a limited amount of options for us to choose between for more Welsh players to come in here with Newport County. I didn't really know which one to go with. I was in 2 minds between 2 players, really. I wanted David Brooks, of course. Love to David Brooks, but unfortunately didn't have the funds to put it off this season after our signs of Cabango, and also Brennan Johnson as well. However, I didn't know if to go for Matt Smith for a holding midfield option. We got Davis, but we know surely at some point he's going to retire in his mid-30s, now down to 80 overall. But also Ethan and Padu as well, who's a rating lower than Davis for now. Matt Smith does regularly get in our Wales squad as well. But in the end, I opted to go for Harry Wilson. The reason being was quite simple. Matt Smith, we could probably get him next season for around the same amount of money. Whereas for Wilson, he's in the final year of his contract with Real Sociedad. So there's a chance to get him for under the valuation. And this would be the best time to get him in terms of value for money. So to Wilson in the end, I think it was 18 million we spent on Harry Wilson, something like that. We had the money to bring him in regardless. And you know, you look at the guy's stats. Wilson is such a great shooter of the ball, and we know he's a real distance specialist. Harry Wilson, he's got a wonderful left foot when he lets fly. He's got the pace to play on the wing, but the funny thing about this is, as we spent practically all of our budget on deadline day to bring in Harry Wilson, the funny thing about this is, I don't, like, even though you look at his stats and you probably say playing through the middle with his technical ability, the dribbling, you know, his passing, range of passing, he definitely can, you know, play through the middle with no problems at all. You might possibly think he'd be suited to playing as an inside forward, and our inside forwards are Dan James and either Lloyd, Mark Bound, or of course the new man in Brennan Johnson on the right hand side. However, those 3 players just mentioned there are all right-footed players. Wilson is a left-footed player. So you'd think naturally the right thing to do would be to transition him from an attacking midfielder to a right winger. Even though he's 30, we should be able to complete that position change. But we've got so many wingers here, do you know what I mean? It's like, would he ever really get a game? I mean, you got Dan James, you got Mark Bound, you got Lloyd, you got new man Brennan Johnson, Ruben Colwill, we got a youngster Reece that I occasionally use as well, Harry Wilson too, Tyler Robertson spent time playing on the wing as well. I don't know whether he'd even play if I changed him to a winger, whereas there is a chance he could play as our second choice for Gavin Humphrey, second or third behind Tyler Roberts. So it's really interesting. We've finally got a left-footed player on the right hand side, but I don't know whether I'm going to use him there because I'm not sure if he'll be as good as Bound, Lloyd, or the new man in Brennan Johnson. Regardless, deadline day would end. Harry Wilson, our final signing of the summer windows. I'll run you through the squad here. This is what we're working with for this season. I don't anticipate we'll do anything in January, but this is our squad. We won the Premier League title with it last season. We've improved from last season, so there's no reason why we can't compete to retain our title this year. But our first year in the Champions League with a tough group including Bayern Munich and Roma as well. Will we be able to be competitive in Europe and the league, and also finally get to Wembley in a domestic cup as well? Lots to consider. Our squad's gotten better, it's gotten thicker, but are we still a little bit behind where we want to be? I guess we'll find out during the season. But that will today's for seeing you guys. Big thank you for watching. Enjoy it. If you haven't, like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day. And we'll see you in the first ever game in the Champions League with Newport County against Bayern Munich in the very next episode. Very soon.